A Rick Ross hit. Andre Iguodala retired yet? Is that official? It's not official? It's coming back? Andre Iguodala? Anyway, know the show. 9:20, know the show. Know the show at 9:20. We'll ask you a question, and you better get it right, because then we have some great prizes to give away. The 95-70 Game All-Star Week Blowout. We still have a pair of tickets to go see Jerry Seinfeld and Jim Gaffigan. We still have a Clay autographed jersey. We still have 2 private jiu-jitsu or self-defense lessons, courtesy of Evolve Training Center, and we're going to need that. If we go back to Philadelphia, we're going to need all the self-defense lessons possible. And this is really cool. It works out. It helps you out at night. Jiu-jitsu and self-defense lessons, courtesy of Evolve Trading Center. This center is amazing.
Well, and I just want to learn firsthand from somebody that understands training on multiple levels here, because your boy's body's breaking down. And if I don't start now, I'm never going to get around it.
Didn't Barry Bonds just go there and get a blue belt?
He did.
Evolve Training Center. Barry B works out there.
Man.
Barry Bonds will kick your ass.
Barry Lamar.
He's still in great shape.
Yeah, well, of course
courtesy
he is.
of Evolve Trading Center. So we still got that package to give away, plus a $250 gift card
really cool.
to Buon Vino in Walnut Creek. We'll get to Frank Isola in just a second. Excuse me. Let's squeeze to the call real quick. Jeff is San Rafael. 3 losses you just can't shake before we get to Frank Isola. What's up, Jeff?
All right. First one's got to be the 49ers and the Kaepernick Super Bowl. I mean, we're at the 7-yard line, and we got 4 plays to punch it in and get a ring, and we just choked. That one I've never gotten over. Second one, the Giants, speaking of Barry Bonds, 0-2 and the Angels. The closest he ever got to a World Series. I mean, we're up 5 runs, and we have 8 outs. I mean, we're counting outs, and we're ready to party. And we couldn't get the 8 outs.
When Dusty flips the ball,
never get over.
Before you keep going, when Dusty flips the ball to Russ Ortiz, I think
gave him the game ball.
Yeah.
Every single time that I see that on replay, I want to throw up.
Especially when Russ Ortiz pitched in trouble all season long. That's how we did it. Go ahead, Jeff. Finish strong, baby. Last one.
All right, basketball fan. Grew up a Knicks fan, New York, and we're finally about to punch through and beat Jordan. I think it was 92. We're up 3-2 in the playoffs, a clinching closeout game at the Garden to put them away. Finally, break through. We're down we're down by 1 point with I think 5 seconds left, and they get the ball to a guy Charles Smith, 6'10" forward, for a layup to put him to break through. He gets 4 shots at it. He misses the first one by 5 feet. Pippen blocks the second one. He clanks the third one, and I think Rodman got the fourth one, blocked it, and the Knicks have sucked ever since.
No, that was 93. Good one there. Good one. That was 93 Game 5 at the Garden, because the Knicks had home court advantage, and the Knicks won the first 2 games of that series. Bulls come back and win at Chicago Stadium 2 straight, and that Charles Smith game was actually Game 5, and the Bulls closed them out in 6, and Frank Isola would know all about it.
I'm looking
He's
at
back
it
there
right
in New York
now.
City. Game 5, Charles Smith, block, game number 5 at the Garden, and Horace Grant was the power forward on that Bulls team and not Rodman, but I get where Frank was at. Frank, what's up, man? Frankie.
Yeah, I was going to say Rodman wasn't there yet.
Yep.
That was also Michael Jordan surrounding him. Charles Smith, who was a terrific player and a really good guy. That moment has followed him around, really ever since it happened. You're right, in that Game 5. How about some other Bay Area losses? What about not getting Aaron Judge this offseason?
I hate you.
What about the A's being up 2-0 on the Yankees, and you had the great Jeter play, the little flip?
That was a great play.
How many times did the Giants go to Candlestick and beat the 49ers? Famous, what was that, the Matt Barr kick?
What are you doing right now?
Leonard Marshall took out Montana. Wouldn't have been able to play in the Super Bowl had the 49ers even won the game, because I think he broke a couple of fingers.
Yeah, and he got to hurt his back.
His back, elbow, back. But they had Steve Young. It could have been fine.
Could have.
And
then you're forgetting.
Go ahead, Kyle Williams.
Eli Manning, Kyle Williams. I thought Bradshaw fumbled in overtime in the mist at Candlestick.
What about the Eli Manning one where they went out to San Francisco.
Yeah,
and they won.
That was the one.
When who fumbled the
Kyle
punt?
Williams. Kyle Williams fumbled twice on punts.
Yeah.
And he also fumbled a reverse that was wide open for the Niners, and he dropped the ball on that play. Mario Manningham, a big third down touchdown. Yeah, that wouldn't hurt. That's in my top 3. Those hurt. Matt Barr hurts. I was a kid, and I cried because the Niners were on the brink of three-peating. And
also allowing West Orange, New Jersey's Kyrie Irving to get the better of Steph Curry in that famous Game 7.
Wow, you're just running material.
You're on fire.
You are. Your old buddy Rob Parker was just on here kind of throwing salt at us about that Game 7 on Father's Day in 2016. I don't get too upset over that one, Frank, honestly. I remember covering that game, and I just thought the Warriors were out of gas. Steph was banged up. They had no Andrew Bogut. The Draymond suspension kind of killed him in Game 5. Came down to the wire. What are you going to do? And then you get the world's greatest consolation prize, which was Kevin Durant, and you win 2 straight championships. So I'm not that upset over Father's Day in Game 2016.
But my only thing is, and it just shows you how the fans look at it differently than the players do. Like when you see, Draymond following LeBron all over the world. And
it drives me nuts.
Obviously, he could be friends with whoever he wants to be friends with. But, that was the guy that cost him a championship because he got you suspended.
Yeah.
He suckered you into getting that technical foul.
Not our best friends.
Frank, are you as shocked as I am that Chris Paul's going to get embraced by this fan base, by the team, by Draymond Green, by Steph Curry? It's kind of wild, right?
I feel like saying to Chris Paul, blink twice if you feel like you're being held hostage. I love when he's asked about the Warriors. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It should be great. Playing there. Come on. The guy has, the Warriors have been a major rival of his. Steph Curry's had all this incredible success in terms of individual awards, team awards. Chris Paul, not financially, Chris Paul's fine there. But you can't tell me that he's thrilled to be joining a team that always used to beat him, and it doesn't make the most sense for him to come off the bench. So not only is he joining that team, most likely coming off the bench, I still wonder if there's a chance he could be traded somehow. Who knows? With James Harden out there, Damian Lillard, maybe something's going to happen.
Maybe. Frank Isola here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. Saw you on PTI yesterday, with Michael Wilbon around the horn, of course, and Sirius XM NBA Radio, the starting lineup. Really good show. All your NBA workings, of course. And Damian Lillard kind of taking the league by storm with his trade demand. James Harden, it sounds like Philadelphia is trying to convince him to stay. So who gets moved first? Is it Damian Lillard or James Harden?
I mean, I think it'll probably be Damian Lillard eventually when he does get traded. And I know all his fans in Oakland, including all those fans that he has in the media, they want it to happen yesterday. But, the Portland Trailblazers, they also owe it to themselves. I know nobody cares about Joe Cronin, and the Portland Trailblazers only care about the Miami Heat, Pat Riley, and Damian Lillard's well-being. Right. But, they do have an obligation to try to get the best deal that they can. I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way, but they're also in it to try to compete and do the right thing. So just because Damian Lillard wants to be traded to one team doesn't mean that the Portland Trailblazers just have to jump at the first package that's out there. And I think the way that Damian Lillard has handled it just hasn't come across well. This idea that he'll only be happy in Miami.
Yeah.
So if somehow the Portland Trailblazers can get him to Golden State, he's going to be unhappy. If he could somehow play with his buddy LeBron, he's going to be unhappy. I'm not buying that. Plus, it goes against everything we've heard about Damian Lillard. All we've heard is that he's incredibly professional. He's a great guy, but who's ever handling this stuff behind the scenes, they have not handled it well the last 10 days to 2 weeks. I actually think Portland's handled it pretty well. They've been consistent on their message. We're going to try to get the best deal that we can for us.
What do you think of Wembanyama?
I thought he was terrible offensively in the first game. It's amazing how people just couldn't bring themselves to say that, because if you said that, then you were going to be held to it, like you were saying. This is how he'll be for the rest of his career.
Right.
He didn't have a good game, and there's a million reasons why he didn't. Part of it is 19. It's a lot of pressure, sold-out game. Maybe all the attention from the Britney Spears nonsense had something to do with it as well, but he played really well the next day. I just worry about his body.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis, I was at his summer league game, his first ever summer league game with the Knicks, and very similar in terms of size and, body type. Same thing with Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren's yet to play an NBA game. He got hurt last year in Jamal Crawford's summer league game out in Seattle. That's the biggest thing I worry about. But you could tell he has talent. And let's be honest, he's going to the right organization. There are certain organizations, and the Warriors, I think, fit the bill. The Miami Heat do as well. He's in a good spot. I mean, they've done a pretty good job over the years not just with big men, the great ones like David Robinson and Tim Duncan, but even guys like Fabrizio Alberto, who won championships with them, Thiago Splitter. They've had a lot of guys come through there, a lot of international players as well. So I think he's in a great spot.
What's the other buzz, Frank? As we're talking to Frank Isola here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game, you catch him on PTI, Around the Horn, Sirius XM NBA Radio, the starting lineup. He's been covering the league for over 25 years. What's some of the other buzz that nobody's talking about nationally or on Twitter that will shock the NBA world?
Well, I do think, the Boston Celtics, it's interesting. They got to a Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals a year after making it to the finals, and they were up 2-1 on Golden State. They had a lead in the fourth quarter of Game 4. Then Steph Curry went crazy. But they made some dramatic moves. Marcus Smart and Grant Williams were big parts of that team, especially defensively, and they gave that team an edge. And they've changed their team a lot by going out and getting Kristaps Porzingis. I think they want the ball in Jason Tatum's hands a little bit more. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's got to learn to dribble the ball a little bit better than he does. That's for darn sure. But I think that's a big one. A team that won, that had a great record last year, was on the cusp of going to the finals, dramatically changed their team. And I think another one too is, Marcus Smart going to Memphis is a great move because with Ja Morant out, he could start, and when Ja Morant comes back, he can still start. That's a great move by the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, Frankie, you've been ripping us about how awesome New York is and how bad we are out here. I'm going to give you my full disclosure here. I'm rooting against Aaron Rodgers. And I love Bobby Saleh. Bobby Saleh is one of my guys. But, God, this Aaron Rodgers thing with the Jets, is it as popular in New York as it feels like nationally? Because they're going to be on Hard Knocks now.
Yeah, I think nationally it seems to be a bit of a bigger deal because, in New York, the Giants are still, both teams are immensely popular, but the Giants are a little bit more popular. Aaron Rodgers moved into the town that I live in. He bought a big old house on the hill. It's one of these, it's funny, it's a glass house. I guess when you have a glass house, you should throw rocks.
Are you doing ayahuasca with him?
It overlooks Manhattan. So he's got a nice setup. So we're all trying to see where he could, who the first person to spot him. What's pretty funny, too, is the town I live in might be the most liberal town in the U.S. So I love the fact that, he's a bit of an anti-vaxxer. So you could have that whole dynamic at work, too. That will be, I could just see people protesting outside of his gigantic mansion that he bought. But it'll be interesting to see because he's experiencing a lot of the things in New York. He went to a bunch of Ranger playoff games, New York Rangers playoff games. He's obviously
been at the Knicks
experimenting in New York. You can take that any way you want.
Yeah, ayahuasca.
I think he's living the life. So, are you coming here to kind of like get a paid vacation in New York for a couple of years, or are you coming here to play football? We'll find out.
What are the expectations for the Jets? Are they thinking Super Bowl, their fan base and media members? Are they hyping it as they're going to be challengers to the Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati Bengals, and, of course, the Buffalo Bills? I'm eager because they make this big move, and they're making a big deal about it. I'm thinking they may not even make the playoffs. They don't even have a great defense. Their defense is legit. But what are the expectations out there, Frank, for the New York Jets?
Well, and think about it. Think about the division you're in. You mentioned Buffalo. You have New England. And you have Miami. That is not going to be easy.
Yep.
But it is funny, and I've heard some shows where they said what would be considered a success for the Jets, and people say, well, they have to get to the Super Bowl. The Jets haven't been to the Super Bowl since 1969. I think they've gone the longest in the NFL without being in a playoff game. So, and Aaron Rodgers is a great player, and it's definitely a game changer for them if he could play at a high level and defensively if the Jets continue on the path that they're on. But it's hard to win in the NFL, and it's especially hard when you got that guy playing in Kansas City. Well, let's face it, all Kansas City does is play home playoff games. I think the Jets in their history, as nutty as this is, I think they've played 7 home playoff games.
Wow.
I've gone to 3 of them.
Wow.
1 at Chase Stadium, 2 at the Meadowlands. In fact, I saw them win 2 of those 3 playoff games. Patrick Mahomes plays 7 home playoff games every 2 years.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's so true.
It's true.
It's so true. Frankie Ice, man. You back on PTI today?
Yes, I am.
Now you're doing
Check your local listings.
Yes, 2:30 out
Tell
here on the
Will
West
Vaughn
Coast.
to smile a little more. He's not that real of a curmudgeon. I know he's happier than that.
Well, I think he's, you want to talk about a story that's close to him, the Northwestern story.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Wow.
He's a graduate there. He's on the board of trustees. He was in the journal. The student journalist broke that story.
Yep. Wow.
They broke that thing wide open. You think about the coach. The guy was 4-20 over the last 2 years. No one was calling for his head because it's Northwestern.
Right.
He was. He played there as an assistant coach. Yep. He was going to have that job for life.
Yep.
Until this mess happened.
And they were getting a new stadium. I think they paused the new stadium, their construction, right? $800 million new facility or whatnot for Northwestern.
Yeah. In fact, I think one of the guys, one of the big finances, is not happy that the coach isn't there anymore. So, I remember, the Penn State scandal from years ago, which was obviously much worse. But, it took them a while to recover. I was a freshman at Maryland when the Len Bias thing happened.
Oh, wow.
At Maryland, and, that, like, our sports programs, especially the basketball team, was done for a while there. So whenever something like this happens, it definitely sets you back.
All right, Frank. We'll be watching today, man. Keep up the
See
good
you, buddy.
work, man.
Good
We'll
stuff.
talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
Anytime. Frank Isola, man. We love him. Here on the Morning Roast, ESPN, PTI, Round the Horn, Sirius XM NBA Radio, starting lineup. We had a lot of fun with them in Boston. We rode Boston, man, keep them on for 8 minutes. And Frank was like, yeah, I got 10. We ended up talking for 30.